I noticed that we were slated to be the afternoon inspiration, so that is my charge right after lunch. So here we go. I'm an educator, so there will be a quiz, architects, afterwards. I'm joking. Thank you so much for that kind introduction, and it's so nice to be here in the Columbus Museum of Art. This space here is so intimate, so I feel pretty comfortable up here speaking with you today. I would like to introduce my team, and you heard a lot about them. We're going to be leaving a little bit early today because Julie Hogarth, who is an educator of 22 years, is our building teacher of the year, and we are celebrating with the district-wide dinner this afternoon. So we're gonna, yes. And Perkins Pringle is an educator of 11 years, and as you heard, he was an administrator in higher ed. So he came on back to the secondary level, and we're very pleased. I'm very pleased and excited to be able to work with him on a daily basis. You heard them refer to her as Coach Hogarth, and we call our teachers learning coaches. We just changed the nomenclature of what it means to be in a learning environment in today's age. That's why I'm called instructional leader as opposed to principal. And we just really want to make sure that the kids are in an environment where they feel like you know how you feel when you're on an athletic team and your coach is rooting you on? And that's sort of the informal setting that we like to display on a daily basis in our school. Before I begin and introduce what they'll be talking about today, I just want to take a moment to really thank the Ohio School Facilities Commission for this opportunity, for the invitation, and also for the funding, which has allowed us to really do some remarkable things in Akron, Ohio. Now, Julie's going to talk with you shortly about the versatility of our space. And Perkins will discuss 4 archetypal learning models. Architects, do you know what he's referring to? The 4 archetypal, this is going to take you back to school. So the 4 archetypal learning, I learned a little bit of something through that, but it's very interesting. He'll discuss how great design occurs as a result of educators and architects working closely together. Now, Scott Lukin, speaking of architects, is from Hasenstaub Architects Incorporated. And he is actually the principal architect that worked on building our school. He's right here in the first row. I just kind of want him to wave his hand so you know who he is, because when we have an opportunity for questions afterwards, I'd like to certainly lend to his expertise. So I want to tell you a little bit about the story of our school and how we came to be. I'm going to refer to my notes over here. The challenge that we faced was to take a pre-existing space. We used to be the National Inventors Hall of Fame Foundation Museum space, and you may have traveled there in the past. And there was a vision that our previous superintendent had, Dr. Sylvester Small, that you mentioned earlier. He really wanted to see that space, and so did the city of Akron. So we have some really grand partnerships with the city of Akron. Akron Tomorrow, the University of Akron, is right there in our backyard. And we were able to transform that space into a learning environment. Now, the one thing that we wanted to think about, and really I didn't come on board until, gosh, the school had already, the structure had been renovated, and it was well on its way to being completed. But there were people that came together in the beginning. There were community meetings that occurred with Scott Lukens and with our Akron Public Schools architect, John George, who is now retired. And they wanted to get the community involved to find out, what do you think this space should look like? And some of the feedback they received was, we want to see a space that's flexible, has multiple uses for the spaces, and furniture that could interact with each other. So I'm talking to you a lot about what the school looks like, but don't worry, you'll have an opportunity to see. We brought video today, and you'll get a really good picture of what it's like for our kids, who we call learners, to be able to learn in our space on a daily basis. They also talked about wanting to let the arts, the sciences, and the mathematics be integrated together on a daily basis. But there was a site constraint. And Scott and we've spoken about this. They couldn't go horizontal. They had to go vertical, the way that our building is built, which you'll see shortly. They also needed to consider keeping the noisiest places on the lower levels, like the cafeteria, the gymnasium, or the music rooms. Some people have a misperception about what STEM education is. We have a comprehensive program with all sorts of, we've got music, we've got choir, we've got band, orchestra. We have a digital literacy program so that we're able to teach learners how to be responsible. In this day and age, we're a one-to-one laptop school, so we actually put laptops in the hands of all of our learners, all of our learning coaches, and we expect them to be responsible, but we have to teach them how to do that. In addition, we wanted to make sure that the space in the middle of the school was collaborative. you know that we work in teams every day, we solve problems. We're preparing our learners for those, with those 21st century literacy skills so that they will be ready to do that in the workplace also. But they're pretty amazing, and they are doing that at the age of just 10 years old. In addition, we needed to think about trying to be sustainable. Materials that were recycled were used as the planning went into the building. And we also needed to make sure that there was constant communication with educators. And I asked Scott, I said, Scott, I was like, what are your reactions to this project, to the school that you've built? And he said that it was very challenging, but extremely rewarding. He believes challenges are fun, and that the most successful designs have come as a result of having community involvement. Also, we had Barry Braverman, who's the Disney Imagineer, come and talk about ideas of what we could possibly do with that space. And Scott laughs. He said, we didn't do half of them, but we had the ideas. And I'm really inspired by what I see here in the museum. I was snapping photos. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that, but I just want to take some of those ideas back to my school because creativity is so important in this day and age. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Julie Hogarth. You'll be able to actually see video of what our school looks like, and then after Julie speaks, Perkins will come forward and talk with you about those architectural types of learning. Julie.
Good afternoon. This is very exciting to me because one of my favorite things in the world is architecture, and I absolutely love it. And I've spoken to Scott about that. And I have an incredible room, by the way, and I can see all the city outside my room. What you're looking at here is the place, the National Inventors Hall of Fame, which was, as mentioned, repurposed in 2010 into the STEM Learning Center. What you're seeing is the versatility of one of our classrooms. Because of the planning, we are able to create spaces for our students, large and small, communal or private, collaborative or independent. The walls between the classrooms retract. This is an image of 3 classrooms opened up into one large space. If you watch, I'm sorry, it's a lot of movement after lunch, so if you get seasick, just look up or something. This flexibility is well, to better understand how our instructional space is used to create learner spaces of all kinds, we're going to show in a little while this space in action with our learning coaches and our learners. Rather than desks in a row with the teacher in front of the room in a print-rich environment, you're going to see 21st century workspace with laptops, projectors, document cameras in a media-rich environment. Our learners are digital natives, and we've been provided with a place to align our methods of teaching to embrace how they learn. We are not confined to teaching areas, but we have now spaces without borders. Yes, education has changed, even though the rectangular classroom in which many educators teach has not changed. As new facilities are built, the new model of classroom should consider these changes. In the 21st century classroom, we teach skills necessary for future jobs, some of which don't even exist yet. This can't always be accomplished in rows of desks. Having mobile walls, modular and movable furniture, and power connectivity are extremely advantageous in teaching these skills that our learners need. We have become coaches as students learn to collaborate with each other, to solve problems as they think creatively, and learn to act on their ideas. We focus on experiential learning to prepare them with life and career skills.